Lawyers in George Zimmerman's murder trial are making opening statements this morning. The judge ruled over the weekend that prosecutors cannot have an expert testify about the voice screaming on a 911 tape. Is it Zimmerman or the man he's accused of killing, Trayvon Martin? Jack Ford is a CBS News legal analyst, and he joins us at the table. Hello. Good to see you, Jack. Now, this decision, I hear, is viewed as a setback for the prosecution. What is the judge's position on this?
Basically, she said this: the jurors can hear the 911 tape, and they can even hear testimony from either the defense or the prosecution, family members, friends, Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman, where they can say, it sounds to us like it is either Trayvon Martin or George Zimmerman. What she said is the prosecution can't bring in an expert. Generally speaking, only experts can offer opinions in a trial. Others talk about, witnesses can say, they're fact witnesses. Here's what I did, here's what I saw, here's what I heard.
And so both sides had experts.
Yeah, so experts, as you can imagine, can carry a lot of weight. But here the judge said, there's just not enough scientific evidence here to allow an expert come in based upon one clip of a 911 tape and say to the jurors, let me tell you who is on this tape. So they'll still have to decide themselves, but it will be the jurors themselves without aid of an expert.
Jack, what do you think about the makeup of the jury?
It's interesting. You know, a lot has been made of the fact that they are all women. First thing you got to remember is there are only 6 jurors here. If you were talking about 12 and you had 12 all men or 12 all women, statistically that would be a bit more of an anomaly. It is unusual, but it doesn't mean anything. There's nothing sinister about it. There's nothing planned about it. If you're picking a jury, you're going to get whoever's name is coming out of the box, literally and figuratively. And sometimes, and we're told here that this jury pool was 2-to-1 women as opposed to men anyway, sometimes you might end up with more of one than another. But it's not as if somebody planned it. Somebody didn't say, we want all women here or we want all men here. You know, the reality is I've heard some people saying, well, it's good for the prosecution, it's good for the defense. The reality is, you know, all women don't think alike, all men don't think alike, all whites don't think alike, all blacks don't think alike. You know, the first thing you learn when you try a lot of cases is you don't know what's in the heart and soul of a juror, and it doesn't make any difference what they look like or what they sound like.
So what do you think this case will ride on?
This is, you know, it's a tough case for the prosecution because of the stand your ground defense in Florida. In Florida, the law says, and in most other jurisdictions, if you use deadly force, you have to make sure you didn't take advantage of the ability to flee beforehand. Florida says if there's a reasonable fear for your life, you can use deadly force. So here, the chore for the prosecution is they have George Zimmerman, who is the one person still alive, who has told his story before and may well tell it on the stand again. We'll have to see. But if I'm the prosecutor, what I'm worried about is I've got somebody who can tell the story, and I don't have somebody who can tell my story. I have to sort of patch it together through circumstantial evidence. That's a tougher case to try if you're a prosecutor.
Race was such a factor in this story from the very beginning. Do you read anything in the fact that 5 of the jurors are white women and there's only 1 person of color on the jury?
Again, I think it's sort of happened since. It used to be, there was a time when I was a young prosecutor in 1975, prosecutors were taught, if you're prosecuting a black man, throw off every black person from your jury. U.S. Supreme Court stepped in the 80s and said, you can't do that anymore. So you can't have one side throwing off either genders or ethnic groups or religious groups regularly, because the judge will step in and say, yep, no, I'm going to stop you from doing that. So this is really, it's just a statistical circumstance that you got 6 women and 1 minority on.
And the race is a makeup of the county, too.
Exactly. I mean, it sort of reflects the county, and all of that, you know, comes into that whole jury selection process.
Jack Ford, thank you.